All right, last topic is about career development. So we talked a little bit last time about college and some of the things that influence the different careers that people choose. Obviously in early adulthood is where you're really developing your career. A lot of people, it's common to experience kind of disappointment whenever you start a career for the first time. Throughout, the sort of exploratory phase of trying to decide what career you want to have, a lot of people tend to focus on the positive aspects of a job. They tend to look at, like the salary, what's going to be the parts of this job that are fulfilling and rewarding, and they maybe don't necessarily get as much information about the negative aspects. And so then once they go into the job, there's this gap between their expectation and reality. They're expecting this job to be really fulfilling and amazing and pay good money, and then they go into the job and they realize there's all these other things I have to do that I didn't realize would be part of it. There's many job changes that occur in the 20s, partly due to some of that disappointment. And then of course the national economy can affect career paths as well. There may be a job that you thought you wanted to go into, but then something happens nationally that makes it really difficult to get into that job. Probably the most common thing that happens now is automation. So there may be a job that you really want, and then by the time you get a degree that gets you that job, people have developed software and computers and robots and things that can do the job for you. And so there's just not really as many jobs available. So in order to advance through the career, it's really important to adjust expectations to the opportunities that are presented. It's been shown that effective mentors is one of the main things that contribute to developing the career and enhance career-related learning and success. And so identifying mentors early on is very important for sort of developing through the career. Women and minorities face particular challenges in their career development, and there have been a number of different studies that have shown this. There's a number of reasons that contribute to challenges to women's career development. Part of it is that women tend to pick jobs that have less opportunity for advancement, or they tend to be concentrated in jobs that have less opportunity for advancement. So women are pretty underrepresented in managerial roles that typically have a kind of climb the ladder path to them, and tend to cluster more in jobs that don't have that obvious path of advancement. They also tend to have less continuous career paths because they may stop their career in order to raise children or deal with other family care. Women are also more likely to care for sick parents than men are, and so even if they don't have children, if they have a parent who's suffering from a health issue or something, they may have to leave their job for that. And so obviously if you're leaving your job and then coming back to it, then it's more difficult to make advancements compared to someone who's just staying in the same path. There have been pretty large advancements in the gender gap in salary, but it still definitely exists. So on average, women make about 80% of what men make, even if they're in the same occupation and have the same achievements as their male peers. That is partly affected by college major choice. So again, women may choose career paths and majors that are more in, social health fields, things like that, whereas men tend to pick careers that are more in the STEM fields that typically pay higher salaries. But like I said, even equally trained women are paid less in masculine fields compared to males. There's been a number of studies looking at both women and minorities, which I'll talk about minorities more in just a minute, where they basically create resumes that are identical, except the name on the resume is either a female name or a male name, and then they just send those resumes out to a massive number of employers, and they record, the number of callbacks that they get, the number of interviews that they get. And it's been shown even if you have equal resumes, women tend to get less callbacks than men do, and also the employers tend to rate them as less competent, less deserving of a high income, things like that. So even if you have everything identical, there really is this discrimination basically against women and minorities. Women may also have low self-efficacy for male-dominated fields, so even if they can get into a male-dominated job, they may feel sort of insecure about their competency and their ability, may be less likely to pursue opportunities because they feel that insecurity. So that's another thing that contributes. They also may have less mentoring opportunities, so it may be more difficult for them to identify someone who's higher up that can mentor them and sort of help them succeed. Of course, in addition to that, they have a harder time with work-family balance. Majority of women with children are working, and you have to try to balance the job with the home life. Role overload is common, so that's basically, like I talked about before, where you have all these other things that you're trying to balance and juggle, and it's really difficult to juggle all those things at the same time. Women are more likely to advance if they work in a job that has a lot of workplace supports, so somewhere that has maybe like a daycare within the work setting, that has flexible hours so that they can, take time off if their child is sick or whatever. And also, effective balancing of home and work life benefits both the home life and the work life.